good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the SharinGANG. It is PT64 here, and with me, of course, as always, we have...
That guy, yours truly.
And Clockwork Nerd. How's it going?
Boom. That was pretty smooth.
We did well that time.
Oh, we did pro level on episode 2, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
That's
we got
what we're
this.
talking about. Boom.
I was
And you
saying,
would have thought that none of us were prepared for any of that about 12 seconds ago, either, would you?
that's the beauty of it. Well, this is why I said, all right, I'll get it done.
Yeah, boom.
I'll get it done.
So-
At least you know that you can cut that nice little segment out and then latch it on.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the bloopers, mate.
You got
So how has everybody been since we last got together and spoke? Obviously, we know, but for the purpose of the listeners.
Fantastic, mate. Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, powering on as always.
I'm
Good.
doing pretty good. I've started Bleach at last. You'll all be pleased to know I've started Bleach.
And it makes me the happiest man on earth.
I'll definitely get some applause sound effects and celebration sound effects going in there. Woy. So let's get straight in. Then where are you on that? Where are you on that? mate?
I'm only 6 episodes in. I'm not gonna lie. It's
That's cool. That's cool.
it's the episode with the duplicate with this other spirit in his body running around being a pervert.
The sweetie thingy.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
Con!
one.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if Con's a thing yet.
Well, it's
Yeah.
a Konpaku, isn't it? The pill. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah. It's a
It's the word
Konpaku.
I could not think of. It's just gone.
Yeah.
I literally said this the other day, didn't I? Thought, this is your role. You're the guy with the names.
You're like,
This is what I'm here for. Don't worry. Yeah. The Konpaku. Yeah. No, wicked. Yeah. So he's basically he's in Ichigo's body. He's going around.
running
He wants
around
to go
doesn't
on
have it.
Orihime's titties, all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was fun.
And
Yeah.
big old ditties.
Yeah. Con is awesome.
Con is it.
Yeah.
Con is
He's awesome.
like it reminds me of Meliodas from Seven Deadly Sins. If you
See, I
watched
can't
that,
comment
That's
yet
a
because
big
obviously
shout.
that's one that I still need to get on.
Okay. Well,
Definitely seems good.
there's some homework for you, bro. But yeah, like Meliodas, he's a bit of that sort of way.
That's some
Like,
shorter homework.
To be fair, I have to say though, I kind of owe it really to Tom to carry on with Fairy Tail.
Fairy Tail, yeah, you do.
I really do owe it to him.
I need
carry
to
on with
finish
that.
it. I'm 4 episodes off finishing Fairy Tail. It's
4 episodes, man. Get a
know.
grip.
And now it's because I can't watch it at work because I've reached one of those episodes where it's just full of those sounds and you know what sounds they are. And I cannot watch that at work and I can't watch it at home because Beth isn't that far ahead in Fairy Tail. So I'm like, what do I do?
Nah. No, yeah, that's a shame.
I'm imagining it's those lovely sort of crying.
Why are you
sounds.
doing an impression of it, that guy?
Nah,
That guy with the sound effects.
I don't think I can pull that one off. I'm too low on the register to pull off those kind of noises.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm not that dynamic, I'm afraid. But okay, right. Before we move on to the topic of this evening's conversation, which is less about anime, I want to ask an anime question. James only, though.
Okay.
Fairy Tail. Do I need to be concerned that I haven't watched it? Honestly, given how much you've watched, how many episodes are you in, or roughly how many episodes are you in?
Not enough to be
Okay.
able to answer that question accurately.
Okay.
I've not even got through like the full season 1. You know, I'm gonna hold my hand up and be completely honest. Like I've watched enough episodes to have enjoyed it so far. I've definitely enjoyed it so far.
Yeah.
It has been good. The characters, do you know what I mean? Like don't be wrong. Like with most anime, you're always gonna get the characters that like might grind on you a little bit.
Oh yeah.
You're always gonna get the characters that you're a little like, ugh. But at the same time, that said, it's almost like with. I know you can't fully appreciate this, Tom, but it's like when you first get. Oh my god, his name's completely left me. Yeah, his name's completely left me now.
Which anime?
Which is a real shame.
Oh, from Fairy Tail.
Because you know that we were literally just saying, I'm your man for this.
It's okay,
And
man.
it's right on the tip of my tongue. It's the dude in Demon Slayer, the crybaby, if you will. And he It's gonna.
Oh yeah, the
It's gonna
sleepy
murder
guy.
me. It's gonna
gosh.
absolutely murder me. That like, it's
I don't
killing
feel
me.
bad that I don't know his name.
But
get on the old Google, mate.
It's killing me. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to like absolutely look at that right now, because he is that character that when you first introduced to him,
Zenitsu.
Yes, Zenitsu. Thank you. My brain only let me think of Zangetsu. Genuinely, that's the only thing my brain
can't fault you.
That's the only thing my brain had let me think of, and I knew it was on those lines. Thank you.
You see, I literally typed in Demon Slayer sleeping guy. That's how bad I am with names.
And he, when you first introduced to him, is unbearable. Like, do you know what I mean? He really does verge on that unbearable character. Mm-hmm. And then obviously you give him time, and he's fucking unreal.
Yes.
So
and you know there's so much more to come from him as well. Like,
oh god, yeah.
Normally you don't have that feeling of hope for the character. There's always one at least.
Because you got through. You got through the first season, didn't you, Ryan? You did get through the first season, didn't you?
Yeah.
I thought you did. I was going to say level 4, like you know what I mean? Like, oh my god,
it's nuts, mate. Like, Well, entirely unexpected. I knew there was something grand going to come from the kid before the end of the first season. There had to have been, otherwise, why are they going to give him so much,
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
but like that is. But then again, that whole anime, like every time they wanted to sort of like show you something, they showed you in some fucking next level visuals and just beauty.
It's like someone literally having the equivalent of like, let me show you what I mean. Like ready every time they talk about something.
Exactly.
They really do. They really do.
But fairy tale.
Yes, like I say, I was about to say, going back to it. Yeah, I can't fully comment from obviously the conversations. Me and Tom have had in the past. It is, it's very much one that I am looking forward to getting into because he does rate it for sure.
Okay, because there is a mixed sort of.
There is.
There really is.
For it, so.
But to be honest, I think
really mean bad, but
I think that mixed is genuinely what I was talking about before, man. I think the only reason that it is predominantly mixed is because there are certain characters, predominantly one sidekicky type character, I believe, that a lot of people find.
Which one are you thinking of?
Wholly unbearable. He flies.
Oh yeah. He's so irritating.
There's one thing on this that you hear a lot of hate for it out there on the interwebs in the community. Well, I have. But whenever there are these fan-made sort of character versus character type thing on YouTube,
pops up quite a lot.
One of the guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The guy with red hair. Why is he like considered like one of the main guys? It's pirates, isn't it? That's my problem. That's why I'm so wary of it. It's like pirate type.
No, it's wizardy.
No, it's magic.
It's no pirate.
Is it not the pirate? The pirate flame guy with the red hair?
He's not pirate.
So what am I thinking about?
No. I'm going to say he has like dragon fire abilities with pink hair.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Very pink hair.
I'm thinking of the wrong guy.
Like proper baby pink hair. Yeah. And he's like the kind of character who...
okay, I recognise the cover. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at...
Yeah, he's the kind of like beloved character.
I was thinking about though. Yeah.
He's a kind of like sort of beloved protagonist that like while people are going, oh, we need to be careful here, we've got to make sure, Natsu's just like, just goes in and starts fucking swinging. Like he's that kind of like, you know, like Naruto, like while everybody's talking, going like, how are we going to approach it? He's just like, you know, I'm coming in, believe it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Kind of character.
No, okay. I have come across this before, but this is not the character I was just thinking about.
Yeah, he's that kind of character. Yeah, he's spot on.
He puts that on. Okay.
Yeah, Fairy Tail's almost like it's similar to Black Clover, but it came first.
Yeah, it did. Quite a lot.
The visuals look a bit there's one character with blonde hair, Tig old biddies.
Oh yeah, Lucy. Yeah.
And like she's got a very One Piece vibe about her visually.
There's numerous fantastic female characters in that.
There is. It's one of those animes that's all about that life.
Lovely jiggle fest.
I make no excuses for who I am, right? I'm gonna make that clear. I'm gonna make that clear straight on the podcast, right?
We are all adults here. You know
that has many bonuses.
Sound.
There's Fairy Tail,
Well, it's a good watch.
Definitely, yeah. But of course,
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say just over 10 minutes into watching it being maybe a couple of minutes.
But it's what we do best. And
Yes.
on to, of course, the main question for the evening. That is something I posed earlier and will pose again to the both of you. We'll start with who wants to go first on this question. I'll ask it and then I'll let one of you come in on it. So the question for tonight is, well, tonight for us, of course, is, what are your gaming origins? What is your first memory of playing a game? As in, like, what's the first console or handheld that you picked up? What is that first gaming experience that led you down the path to love gaming all these decades later? So who wants to go first?
I guess that's me then. That was plenty of time.
I'm still thinking. I'm still
all right,
thinking.
Clockwork. All right. Mine is it's pretty mainstream, to be fair. Like, it's legitimately Nintendo, the original Nintendo Entertainment System, and good old Mario. That was the first ever thing that I
The
played.
original,
yeah.
the original,
OG,
yeah.
Lift Up the Flap OG.
Oh yeah.
That was the first console I ever recall. The first sort of anything that I would understand as gaming that I can remember.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell you. I do know that Mario was the OG. Mario was the first game that I played, but the first game that I remember playing clearly, like I remember where I was, the environment, who I was with, and everything, the exact situation, was Duck Hunt with the gun.
Yeah, the light gun.
Yeah, that was SNES,
incredible.
Yeah,
of which I
correct.
still have to this day.
Oh
mate.
gosh, I wish I had.
I've got Duck Hunt. I've got about 3 light guns. Yeah, it's all there.
They are some nice pieces. I just
Yeah,
recall how
yeah.
many I had growing up, and I'll just use them as toy guns around the house and stuff.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, I did that.
If only you knew what you was doing, you dumb fucking child.
I know, yeah. The kind of thing where now I'd lose my mind over it, but then, yeah, you just wrap the cable around your arm.
Just that click, that horrible, that almost squeaking click.
Yeah, the wear and tear.
Yeah, that plastic goodness.
Absolutely,
But
yeah.
that was like that was the first one I played, but it was Sonic that like I first ever recall sitting down and just playing for hours and hours.
Really putting the time into,
yeah. It was one of the consoles. I want to say it was like a Mega Drive where I had it chipped. You didn't put a game in the console, and there was Sonic 1.
Yeah, it was the Sega Mega Drive for us, the Sega Genesis for the US. Yeah. So for all you, Americans there, the Genesis.
Yeah, the Sega Genesis. That was the first thing, but it was just because I was amazed. I understood the concept of games consoles by that point, but I was more into playing outside and stuff. But then, there's no game in it. How is it playing the game? Like, I'm wizardry. I was like, these things, it's a box of magic. And then I was sort of, spent the time with it. And then I think anybody spends enough time with a game that has any enjoyment from it is maybe not a gamer, but they appreciate games. There are people out there that just don't appreciate them at all. But that was probably what made me start appreciating them, which then led on to the what I am now, which is way too into them for the amount of time that I have to play them.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely.
So what about you, Tom?
Clockwork then.
The first game I ever remember playing, it's a vague recollection, but it was Pokemon Blue. It was the first game I actually remember playing.
Yeah.
You baby!
I am younger than you guys by quite a bit.
You baby!
I remember this. I got into gaming fairly late compared to a lot of people. But after that, I think it was the earliest one I remember properly clearly was Pokemon Stadium on the N64 with my brother.
Yeah,
smashing them mini games.
Wouldn't remember that game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, it was so good. I've still got it. I've still got the same console, the same cartridge.
Don't play it. Don't play it anytime that. Please don't. I played it quite recently. I'll say probably a few years ago now.
No, it still looks
amazing. Didn't enjoy it as much as I remember enjoying it. I was like, oh, this is like the most just grindy game just to do anything. But at the time,
that's like everybody I've proved wrong that have gone, oh, I love Crash Bandicoot. and then I used to go like, all right. I'll tell you what then. I'll re-download, because I've got 1, 2, and 3, like the originals on the PS3. And I was like, I'll tell you what then. I'll re-download the first one. Get it played. And if you can knock that off, we'll get 2 on the go, right? I think got to about level 3 or 4 and was just like, fuck this fucking game.
Yeah.
And I was like, leave it in your memory, right? Leave it where it belongs. Like, because that is why I would never be able to like play them really again. I've been asked to play the new Crash Bandicoot that's coming out on stream when it comes out, and I said, I can't afford a new monitor. Like, my arm will be through it. Like, I can't fucking, the stress levels of those games is too much for me to handle.
I was never a Crash fan.
I don't mind like the remakes, but when they like do the remasters or like they're like, you know, pixel for pixel recreations.
Yeah.
Because I think there was like a Streets of Rage talk of doing that, like just updating it as it was.
Well, there's a new
like,
one. There's a Streets of Rage 4.
Oh yeah, but there was talk of like actually if I remember, it was one of these old school side-scrolling beat 'em ups. I want to say it was Streets of Rage, where they were just going to recreate it, but better visuals, but all of the mechanics and everything was the same. So it's essentially the same game, but just looks better. Is that what 4 is then? Is
yeah, man. Yeah. It's a new modern day version of Streets of Rage. Yeah.
Amazing.
If it just performed exactly like the original one was, I would not enjoy that, because I remember playing the original one in some restaurant where they had like a little gaming area.
Oh, I love them, man. Love them.
And it was, yeah, I mean, you're really into your platforming side scroller, like beat 'em ups, but it was the most
old arcade style
playing that game. Yeah, every time that you give me a pad that's got Streets of Rage on it, right, I guarantee you that the first thing I will always do now, and I don't know why, but is calling that special. Every single time. It's like my thumb just homes to that button, and straight away that gets me. Like, I know better than that. But for some reason, I can't do it. And the game's just a lot more difficult.
Played it recently. I don't know how many times I did that. Wasted the special at the beginning of the level.
Yeah.
Like, every single time. Like, every level. Just pissed it away.
I don't know if it's like a meme or something, but it bloody well should be. Like,
it's just, yeah. That is some sort of muscle memory that can't be rectified, that. It really is. It was for me anyway. Like, you'd have thought going through number 1 like twice would have locked it in, but no, absolutely not. But yeah, no, I mean, it is surprising really, like going back to it. Obviously you're with your comment, Ryan, about like you baby when it came to like obviously Pokemon Blue.
Yeah, Pokemon Blue, flipping it.
And you do forget.
Like 2 years ago.
But you do forget that there is that age difference there, and of course it's a totally different perspective. Do you know what I mean? It really is.
I'm hanging out with a child.
Yeah, it's really interesting in that regard. I do. Yeah,
I'm gonna have a quick look.
I love to hear that origin.
It was like 96.
96, mate.
Yeah, mad.
Well, bro, you put in some years though. That doesn't mean you're any less for it, man. Jesus.
Absolutely.
I would say I've made up for my lost gaming time over the years. I made up for that.
Yeah.
Was that the first game that you played, and did you like just love it and stick to it, or was it your first introduction? And
I think that was my very first introduction to gaming, and like I think I've probably played every Pokemon game since, because I've been addicted to Pokemon since then.
Yeah.
But I think that was like my introduction to RPGs and JRPGs in general, because that's where I kind of wandered off from then. It was just straight into RPGs.
Yeah.
That's a good shout, actually. Yeah, because I mean, I was very much into games growing up, but it's not until I really got into. I mean, there's game, and you got a gamer, and then like there's something just a bit beyond that where it becomes like a lifestyle. Like gamer is just someone's very good at video games, or they specialize. Somebody could be banging at FIFA, like be one of the best you've ever come across at FIFA. They call us as a gamer. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. You're a gamer. You play a lot of games. Fair enough. I'll give you that title. But then, as a gamer, as a lifestyle, I feel is something a bit different.
See, for me, like calling
and RPGs is what turned it into a lifestyle for me. JRPGs, really.
Like, even though I appreciate, like, legitimately, jokes aside, I appreciate that games like FIFA are games, they're video games.
Oh yeah.
But for me, playing a game like FIFA and calling yourself a gamer is like playing Candy Crush and calling yourself a gamer. Like,
there are people who do that as well, though. That's the really sad part. There are people.
My little brother turned into one. My little brother was a gamer, and then turned into nothing but a COD playing FIFA touting dickhead. That's all he gets. You know what I mean? I was like, bro, we used to have so much fun playing games, even when we used to play FIFA together. Yeah, love you, bro. We used to have so much fun playing like FIFA 06. We would have fun playing that, but then come like FIFA, I can't even remember. Like, I want to say like 13. It was different. He was taking it seriously, and he was talking about finesse shots and why aren't you shooting from here? You was never gonna score from there. That was just getting frustrated at me for not playing well. Like, I should know better. Like, bro, it's a game. Like, this doesn't sound like you're having fun.
Even just talking about it's like fucking nails on shoulders. You want that?
I would say, back. What's a finesse shot? I just press that one button and take a shot whenever I'm near it. Like,
yeah, it's underneath you. You press R1 and it scores every time. Apparently, when he does it, anyway. The one thing, though, his one saving grace though would have been Guitar Hero. He was also a beast at Guitar Hero.
What?
His wasn't a talent. His was just
yeah. So that was fucking amazing. Yeah, I did.
Terrible Guitar Hero.
I did really enjoy that. Again, something that came and went.
Well, there's still a little bit of a community.
No, there is. There's absolutely like a gnarly fucking community for it, but it's just not. It's just something that, in terms of not in terms of like my opinion, but in terms of popular opinion, and do you know what I mean? Like, just moving with the times, like things like Guitar Hero, and
it was never going to stick around. It's a novelty, isn't it?
Yeah, things like Guitar Hero and Rock Band and that. They just came and went, didn't they? Do you know what I mean?
It's a novelty, isn't it?
That's what we should do.
They got replaced by things like VR.
Yeah, they did.
Did you ever come across Rocksmith? I still to this day would like to have a go at Rocksmith, where you plug the actual real guitar in.
Yeah, I do remember that. And that compared to things like Rock Band and Guitar Hero, flopped to fuck, from what I understood.
Yeah, I was like, you could actually learn to play real guitar. People now
want to actually learn.
Press colourful buttons.
Memorize the sequence of buttons.
It's insane. Like, yeah, I never understood that. Like, I've got to say, like, South Park really encapsulated that. Like, where they're playing the game, and Randy rips the guitar out and like starts fucking playing "Carry On My Wayward Son," and they're all just like, "Nice, lame," and just like think he's shy in comparison. It's just like that attitude right there. It really is.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't respect it on any sort of level. Like, real, as somebody that can play the guitar, rhythm guitar,
it's mad impressive when you can play at high speed.
Yeah, but these people, it's still impressive. Like, but yeah, it's never
the technicality. It's not fucking actually like
You've played that track,
bringing out a tapping riff on a guitar or something.
You could be an awesome Guitar Hero player, like one of the best. But you give them a brand new track they've never played before on a harder difficulty level, they're not going to be as impressive. Like, they're impressive at these like tracks that they've played, a lot of times, and almost muscle memoried the flipping.
Yeah.
Because you see as well, some of them, they're just like, right, they're not even on the streams, they're not even looking at the guitar or the screen, they're on the chat and everything like that. So you must have memorized it, otherwise how are you not looking? Because that's just how the brain works, right?
Yeah.
Not that I'm bitter or anything, all right? I'm a little
definitely not.
It was my Guitar Hero. How dare you? In my bedroom, when I'm not around, I practice that hard that you're better at it than me.
It's coming out now.
We're not playing FIFA. Get out.
It's coming out now. Let it out, lads. Let it out. But me personally,
yes.
Me personally, I started way back on the first ever game I remember playing was Tetris.
Oi.
On the original Game Boy.
Tetris.
That my godfather gave me. He gave me his Game Boy with Tetris. And that's the first game I remember playing. And then from there, I remember I slowly built up like cartridges, went down to this little shop down in town and like got a new game. And I remember playing things like Super Mario Land on the original Game Boy. Yeah. Brutal Mario game, especially for a kid. And I remember playing them. And then from there, it legitimately just built from there. It was like a Nintendo Enterprise from there. It was genuinely ended up getting the NES or the NES, similar to Ryan, the Nintendo Entertainment System. Ended up playing on that. Your original Mario, Mario 3, Duck Hunt, and I was incredibly fortunate. And yet again, still have, of course, along with the light guns to this day, I was very fortunate to have a Rob. The robotic operating buddy. You can look him up. I implore anybody to do so if you're, dear listeners, if you're listening.
You know what? I forgot you had one of these. You told me you had one of these.
Rob, and playing like Gyromite with him. And just insane. And then again, like I say, from there, it literally did build up. I remember getting the Super Nintendo. I remember getting the SNES. And I remember getting it as part of a Super Metroid bundle, which literally came with Super Metroid and the guidebook.
The guidebooks.
I miss guidebooks.
Which unfortunately is tatters at this point. I don't even know where it is anymore. It's wounded, unfortunately. But yeah, Super Metroid. And I mean, I think through... I absolutely adored Mario. Like old school Mario games, like Super Mario World is without shadow of a doubt still quite possibly my favourite 2D Mario game. Like incredible.
Which one is World? World wasn't the one where the screen would go across and then catch up and then go across again.
Oh, and they all did that. Like all different levels did that. On Mario games. World.
Oh no, one of them wasn't where it didn't do it smoothly. Like it would like you'd fall. One of the levels you'd start off at the top and you'd fall down. You'd fall from the top to the bottom, and then the screen would pan down, and then you would go down and more. And then when you got to the edge, it would stop and pan down. Whereas in other Mario,
most of the Mario, I'm looking into it.
Old school.
I was going to say look into it because that definitely was. But games like I genuinely think to this day, it's Super Metroid is the reason that even to this day, even right now on my streaming schedule, that I hit platformers on. I fucking love those Metro. Again, it's in the fucking name, right?
Yeah.
Metroidvania. Do you know what I mean? I was playing Castlevania 2, motherfucking Simon's Quest. Do you know what I mean? On the NES, smashing that. And then later, that came first, and then later playing things like Super Metroid, just ignited that fucking love for good platformers. And
Super
then
Mario Bros 2, sorry. It is that one. Sorry.
Oh, that's fucking... In Japan, it was Doki Doki Panic, that. It's a completely different fucking... Genuinely, it's a totally different game.
Yeah, that one stood out to me so much. I was like, this is different to all
totally
the other
different game. I mean, you look at the art style of that, and then you go to 3, and it's like, when do we go back in time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's just so mental, but again...
Yeah.
Mario Bros 3, insane. Another fucking incredible game. Not long ago, I played through the old school Mario Bros on the Switch.
What was the one that I had? One that had like a collection of Mario games on one cartridge.
Super Mario All-Stars. Super Mario All-Stars.
I got it. I had that.
Still got it. Yeah, still got it to this day. Incredible, man. Because that's where you actually got Super Mario 2. Doki Doki Panic ended up getting labelled as Super Mario Bros 2. But on All-Stars, you had Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels.
Yes, yeah.
That is fucking Super Mario 2.
Okay.
That is Super Mario 2, and then it goes on to Super Mario 3. Super Mario 2, as we know it, is Doki Doki Panic, different fucking Mario game.
Right, okay. Because there are so many spin-offs of Mario games, aren't they?
There's so many Mario games.
It's a Mario RPG.
We don't put like Mario Tennis into the fucking timeline.
I mean, I'm talking like a Super Mario like RPG.
Super Mario the RPG on the N64 was fucking amazing game. Like that was an amazing game. And games like Paper Mario, the Thousand-Year Door. Oh my god, that was such a phenomenal game. I played through that with a good friend of mine. Like, it's such an incredible game.
I played so many Mario games when I had my PSP. I had a custom firmware, so just download his ROMs and like I'd found like just pages and pages of just Mario games.
There's so many,
Mario.
there is.
Yeah.
Think of like Final Fantasy Tactics. There was like a Mario game with that style.
Doesn't surprise me. Like ones that'll probably
I
have been like Japanese only releases and stuff.
Yeah,
They just didn't appeal to the Western market. Yeah.
No, I need Super Mario Tactics. I need that.
The final thing I'll say though is with me saying like on Mario at least, like the one thing I will say is I said before that as far as like 2D side scrolling Marios go, I would say Super Mario World is my favourite. As far as 3D Mario games go, Super Mario Galaxy all day long. Super Mario Galaxy was fucking unreal. Like, it was just, from start to finish, just pure enjoyment. Like, I loved that game the first time I played it, and any time I went back to it, remembering how much I enjoyed it and playing it again, I enjoyed it just as much that time as I did before. It's such a fantastic game.
Never played it.
Honestly, it's unbelievable.
No.
It really is.
Never had a GameCube. My little sister had one, but we sort of like gave her that to.
That was on the Wii. Super Mario Galaxy was on the Wii.
Well, like I'd
Sunshine was
Mario
on the
games.
Don't start me on Sunshine.
Sunshine was a great game, but that was on. That was on the GameCube, and B, my God, it was frustrating sometimes, that game.
Oh yeah, it really was.
Oh, it really did make me twitch quite badly.
I don't want it anymore.
I didn't get on with Mario 64. This is like a controversial thing sometimes, but I just don't enjoy Mario.
Man, it's one of those things. Like there's always people who aren't going to enjoy the classics. Like I've spoken to, I have met numerous people who either don't like or have never played Zelda, and to me that is obviously a surprise because I'm a huge fan of like the Zelda franchise, but not everybody enjoys it.
I didn't like Ocarina of Time. Yeah, I think it was just that sort of like a lot of people must like it, but there was a lot of times going from point A to point B, and it just wasn't enough to keep my attention.
And that is literally you have described every video game ever made.
No, there's no like it just didn't stimulate me enough. I think obviously
which surprises me, being one of the first sort of, if you will, open world games I believe ever made.
You see, I'm not a massive fan. I preferred the early Assassin's Creed, not one because that was a bit different in its set out, but the sandbox style like of 2, and then it went to 3, which was you sort of like open world sandbox. I don't quite know. Yeah, but I didn't like. I just wanted literally give me back my literal sandbox. It's a square for me just to go crazy in. I like the open worldy stuff.
Fuck that. You ain't pinning me down. I want to walk to the horizon. I want to go everywhere. I want to fucking have the horizon, mate. Games like Horizon Zero Dawn.
No, The Witcher was a big thing for me.
And like that, The Witcher as well.
I do want to play that, but you see, The Witcher was not only was it like a standout game for me because I'm not really into the high fantasy sort of theme, but I'm not really into that style of open world game. Prototype, for instance, is a game that I loved playing because it's just
so much fun.
It's just noise, like wherever you're going, and it's something to stimulate
it was
me
for
all
me,
the time.
But I was always very much on the Infamous side of the argument because the two games that came out at very similar times, one was Xbox, one was PlayStation, and for me personally, Infamous just blew Prototype out of the water.
So I
played
Prototype first, and I got what was his name? Ross Mercer. What was his name?
Alex Mercer.
Alex Mercer became a little bit of a, like I don't know. I look at some anime characters like Ichigo, and I'm like, that guy's so cool. Like the way he stands straight.
Oh yeah, he was badass.
He's leaning back. You know what I mean? It's just like
the word you're looking for is presence.
Alex Mercer had that thing going. I'm like, this guy is so sick. And then
I get that.
I came across Infamous, and the person that sort of put me onto it was like he described it as a poor man's Prototype. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna stay with Prototype then. Now, I'll be honest with you, Infamous is definitely a better game. Like, definitely a better game. It's definitely a better game. But I'll be honest with you, Prototype is a bit more fun. Like, just because it is more, it's not as guided. There is just always, especially towards the back end of the game, it's always just such a stupid amount of just combat to keep yourself distracted.
Oh, I know.
But I'm a big fan of Dynasty Warriors games, or Dynasty Warriors, whatever you want to call them. I love those games. And they're just it's just mindless hacking and slashing. Like,
See, now that
I
for me,
enjoyed Samurai Warriors.
Dynasty Warriors. Now that for me personally is a definition of a fucking snore fest. It's boring as fuck. Literally
I am
going
a big fan.
from A to C to B to D, just literally slashing big groups of enemies. Then you move on to the same thing. Oh my god, it's just
it is
so
a visual thing. For
not
that.
for me. That it's really not.
I played a
If
little
you're
bit
doing
of
big
9.
battles,
Yeah, I played a bit of 9 where it's the open world one. And I didn't like that simply because it took too long to get. Like on the originals or the ones before 9, it's you get a smallish map and you have to go from point A to B, which are quite close together. And you go over there. You do
it really was. Level after level was rinse and repeat. It was just not it enticed me. Or it really was just rinse and repeat. There was nothing fresh.
I'm not gonna lie. It's just it's a perfect combination of flashy lights, music, and just like badass visuals. Like just to keep me in all the time, that I get excited about a new one that's announced. Other than now I've seen 9, I'm completely like, you've just gone off with it now. I'm afraid it's like when Call of Duty went future warrior type thing with advanced.
Yeah, we all went.
It was like, that's not it anymore. I mean,
they lost me before then, but that was like nailing the coffin. To be fair, until of course, I always hold my hand up until Warzone came along, and that did entice me back. I
do want to play Modern Warfare, the new one. I do want to play it. I'm very keen to play it. I just don't want to pay the money for it.
Black Ops Cold War.
No, just the actual game, the Modern Warfare game, the remake.
The full game, right?
Yeah. I do just want to play that, but I just don't have enough faith in it to pay what.
See, this is it, man. I've been told that I should absolutely pay, play the campaign. I'm not forking out like 50 quid because I'm like,
it's only like 3-4 hours again.
I can guarantee now. I can guarantee 110% that I could pay that money, play that campaign, and know full well I could have just fired up the PS4, played God of War, and enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. So why? Do you know what I mean? Why would I want to fork
like
that money out?
I'm not going to do it. Like it's a Call of Duty campaign. Unless you've done something drastically different, which I would have found out by now if you did. It's about a £10 experience at a push.
The thing is I know what I'm going to get though. That's the thing. It's going to be shooting terrorists and then some super dynamic first-person angles, and then back to shooting terrorists. I know what I'm going to get from this campaign, right? Doesn't matter if the story's cool.
No, you've missed the key component, mate.
Go on.
The helicopter shooting bit.
The helicopter bit.
Absolutely,
There's always that motherfucker.
Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry. Well, it technically comes into shooting terrorists. Do you know what I mean? Like, it technically does come under that category.
Yeah.
And then back into dynamic camera angles. But this is, and then some sort of horrid betrayal.
It's always that betrayal, isn't there?
But this is the thing, and it's like, and I'm not, for those big COD fans out there, I'm not putting down on the series, right? Because I was a big fan of it once too. Like, really, I was, right? And I'm genuinely not putting it down. But for me, that's what I'm getting. This is why now, when it comes to gaming, this is why I love my big open games. This is why I love my single player campaigns, because it's stories. They're just they've just got so much fucking depth, and this is why I'm such a big fan of like fantasy and sci-fi, because it can give me more than just do you know what I mean? Like 9 times out of 10, I can turn on the news and see about some fucking military related, bollocks going on in the world, right?
Yeah.
But I want to play a game that takes me away from that. I'm not interested in like that kind of thing. Like if I want to play a military sim, I'll play Armour, right? I'll play Armour 3 and I'm done with it.
That's fair.
Do you know one thing that bugged me, talking about realism, right? Grand Theft Auto 4, you hijack a car, that whole mechanic, I was like, that's a little bit annoying. Like, I see what you're trying to do there, but I'd rather just push your button and get in the car.
See, it's another game series that I just left behind, man.
Yeah,
like, I'm just not bothered.
You hit a wall, you're going through the windscreen, No, I don't want
wanna
that
keep
from a
driving.
flipping graphic. I just want, you know, I want to be able to still drive the car and be at full health if the car's on fire.
It's funny, really. That
Like,
is a legitimate argument from certain people, that how sometimes too much realism in games can take the fun away from it.
Yeah, I don't want to come back like home to play a game and it's just like living life, but you're not really going to prison for stuff. I want to be able to do crazy things. Like if I can actually physically do that to myself, not really that bothered, regardless of the consequence, regardless if it's going to hurt me or whatever. If I can actually pull it off, if it's physically possible to pull it off, like I'm not really going to be that too into it as a game. Like this VR experience, like, oh yeah, you could play like table tennis. And no.
Table tennis VR.
Like so, the person that introduced me to or put me onto the Oculus Quest 2, he got one as well, and he's playing fishing in it.
Why?
I have no idea.
Why?
I have no idea. It's like, especially when the fishing game costs some money. If it was a free app or something, then fair enough.
Paid for a fishing game.
Yeah. Like I'm not knocking anybody that likes to fish. I'm not knocking fishing games. What was it? Sega Bass Fishing.
No.
Great game. Like, you know what I mean?
Mate, I've been very partial to a fishing game on my phone in the past, right? I like a bit of fishing.
It's so realistic, like, you know.
But it's definitely not my first choice if I was going to delve, like, almost physically into a world. Sitting on a lake in a boat is not, like, the first sort of port of call.
Now, there is other elements to it. Apparently, you can hook up with other people that have them. So I'm not even gonna lie. If you guys could hook up and do a little bit of fishing, like because you could actually go on a boat and walk around the boat and go like fishing and blah blah. I'm like that might be cool for half an hour, 45 minutes at a push. But
to be fair, I think if we were doing it, it'd just be funny. It'd just be fucking hitting each other with fishing rods and shit. So like I can imagine.
Say, Ryan would be jumping in the water after fish.
After about 45 minutes, we would have done all the stupid crap that could be done in the game, and then we'd be bored because the only thing left to do is fish, and we'd be like, "Let's go now."
Yeah, like
that. Back to shore we go. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do know what you're saying. Like, I do
different strokes in that, innit? Different strokes. I mean,
but no, I do get it. Like we were saying with like GTA and things like that. There's for me, like when it comes to enjoyment in games, like you put it to me that it's like, what would you rather do? Drive down the street in a car and shoot a fucking copper, or lift off a spaceship and like actually leave a planet into space? Like there's no contest.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you drive around on a fucking street that could be any fucking boring old street with a fucking gun that's a gun, or I can fucking do something outrageous, play a game like like Subnautica, do you know what I mean? Alien Planet, Ocean World. There's just no comparison there for me.
Speaking of different things and different possibilities for gaming, what would your genre? I mean, it's a difficult one. Like, but if you'd say like your genre, I'd like to think, for instance, that you PT, like from what I've seen on your streams and whatnot, you like your side scroller action games.
It's not my predominant though.
It's
not my predominant genre though. It really isn't. Like if you were to it's very difficult for me to decide because I'm such a fan of like numerous different genres. Like really, like I am a big fan of numerous different genres and games that you immediately think of and put into like its own. You know what I mean? You put it with other games, as it were. They don't go together. You might be thinking of, for instance, like I could be like, oh, I love grindy games. I love, someone could turn around and go, oh, I love games where you grind. But that doesn't necessarily mean that like that involves Monster Hunter. That is a JRPG. But what I'm trying to say is that is a JRPG.
Yeah.
But somewhat, do you know what I mean? That's its own genre. There are so many other JRPGs, which don't get me wrong, yes, they're renowned for grinding, but there are ones that don't involve as much. Yeah. Do you know where I'm going? Do you know what I'm trying to say here? Yeah. And this is why it's so very difficult. But I suppose for me, and again, it's very difficult for me to choose whether I prefer, because some people can say outright, no question, first person. Other people will say third person. But it's very difficult for me to choose between them because as much as like I absolutely adore
there's too many variables to consider.
RPGs and like big open RPGs, I absolutely love them. But then at the same time, I do love a first person shooter. And this, that, and the other,
Yes.
And I think it depends as well because so much of it comes into your mood.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
What kind of game you fancy and what kind of game you
Some
got time
games you just want to jump in and get going, and some games you want to get lost and immersed in.
Exactly. You know, we all know that there is a game that you can jump on and you can have, right, what time is it? Right, I've got 20 minutes. I'm going to have a smash on that.
Yeah.
You know full well that, for instance, you couldn't, exactly like we were saying, all right, I've got 20 minutes, I'll jump on Monster Hunter. You haven't, there are certain games where it's not feasible to squeeze into. So do you know what I mean? So it really does depend. Like, you can't look at the time and sort of go, oh, I've got, a certain amount of time before, I don't know, the taxi's arriving. You can't fire certain games up. You just can't.
No.
You literally can't fire Warzone up in that time.
No, you actually can't. No, you can't. No, you actually can't.
All right, so Tom, I thought you was like you always talk about looking for a nice RTS. Would you so that's where you like to be gaming?
I love my strategy games. They're like, I vividly remember playing Age of Empires 2 for so long that it's just ingrained the love of strategy into me.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, my go-to game, if I've got like a few hours to kill, XCOM. Every day I'll jump on it and kill a few hours. But I'm also partial to an RPG. Give me a good RPG, give me a good story and good characters, and I'm there, and I'll put all the hours into it, and I love it. I'll explore every nook and cranny, like I did with Mass Effect. Is a prime example of an amazing RPG series that I love. And I have explored every inch.
If there are secrets to be found, I'm looking for them.
Would it be considered as a primary genre RPG? Would Mass Effect you consider like? Because I didn't play too much of it. I got a very RPG-esque vibe when I started playing it and decided I didn't really get on with it, but I didn't give it, the amount. It's the first one as well, so it's a very slow beginning. I don't even think I made it out of that. But when I'm watching a lot of it, the reason that I started it is because I was watching it, I was like, it's more of an action game with RPG elements from what it looked like from what I was watching, but obviously it's just snippets. But then as soon as you load it and start walking around, you're like, no, this is some Elder Scrolls looking, feeling stuff.
BioWare
is definitely an RPG first and foremost.
Yeah,
so would
absolutely.
you consider like Final Fantasy as a 15, for instance? That one's very different. Would you consider that RPG?
Well, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is an RPG.
It is an RPG, but then when you say RPG, I wouldn't consider it like a sole RPG. 15 in particular, I wouldn't say. I'm a massive fan of all of the Final Fantasy games.
I mean, it's an open world RPG. Yeah, like is the category.
Yeah, it's an open world RPG, but it leads to action a little bit more than RPG for me. I don't know why, but when there's a little bit too much fluidity in the gameplay, when there isn't actually there's no just take a minute to think with it, or it's not that it's none of it, but there isn't enough for me to go RPG as much as I would say for pretty much any Final Fantasy prior to it.
See, it's funny as well because I'll put one thing to you here. It's legitimately something that's just popped into my head now, and I'm not saying that I've got an answer for it, but I just think it's a curious point, really. Just as you say there, where take for example, the original Final Fantasy 7 or 8. Or any of them, really, like the original ones, where you like you say, you're running around, you've got more time to go take it slow and really sort of just to slowly go about it before things get heated up again. Now, do you think that is more of an intentional thing? Or do you think that maybe it's changed, obviously, in time because they didn't previously have the technological capabilities to make it fluid like it is now?
Well, I mean, you could have, if we look at 7 and 8, the early ones, with the random encounters, is what it's about. The Final Fantasy 7 remake, I would have loved for there to have been just like random encounter battles in that. But they're not. You don't run around and then you just take into a battle. You see the enemies, you go up.
Wasn't it more like, I was just about to say, wasn't it more like the modern day, I don't know, we're going back to it, but wasn't it more like the modern day Pokemon games where you see them out and about and you run into them to instigate the actual battle itself?
Yeah, there's none of that sort of you can stay in an area and just keep running around and level up. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. And the thing is, I think that really does take away from the excitement as well. When I think especially don't get me wrong, I still really, really enjoy played like, you know, the new Pokemon, but on that, like in the same thing, like the excitement of seeing what's going to pop up is taken away, because obviously there were certain enemies that you would look for. Correct me if I'm wrong, it has been a while for me with Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
There were certain enemies that obviously you would have to sort of, you know, again, using that word, you would have to grind for, to find, to kill, to get certain resources off of them.
Yeah.
But they were rarer than other enemies.
Yeah.
So, you know, you got the reveal of when it opened up and you're like, yes, finally, like I've fucking got one, you know.
There's none of that in newer RPGs. I feel like they're all action games with RPG elements. Rather than RPGs.
Well, there's a lot of people's complaints when it came to the newer Elder Scrolls game, like Skyrim. I mean, if you genuinely go from Morrowind to Oblivion to Skyrim, the amount of shit that has been taken out is fucking insane.
I put about an hour into Oblivion, and that was too much of an RPG for me.
Oblivion's fucking incredible.
The action elements weren't enough for me in that game. There was action in it, but you can see that wasn't the key purpose of the game. Whereas games that are claiming to be RPGs now, the action is just as much as important as the RPG elements.
I think it's what, for me, Oblivion really falls into that true RPG genre in a sense, and I know you'll be with me here on this, Tom, is the fact that it's you are within a world, right? In our world, you know, action, if you will, and bad things happen, but not all the time, everywhere. And I think that's the beauty of those kind of big RPGs, is you are within a world.
Yeah.
And you walk around and interact in that world and come across situations that will then result, for instance, in like getting robbed. You can choose whether that ends in violence or not. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. And I think that's what I love about those games, is because you are put into a world. That's why I put so much time into Skyrim. Not only, I mean, don't be wrong, like Skyrim sort of like, you know, helped me through a bit of a shitty time in my life, I'll be completely honest. And it helped me to get lost inside that world and escape my own for a bit.
Yeah.
And it's those kind of RPGs that I think will always be closest to my heart, those biggest. And I suppose that answers your question right there, for instance, your previous question. Your big open world, survival or not, RPGs that you can spend hours at your leisure in that world, they are my favourite. Yeah. So it's a form of escapism in such a magical way.
You see, that's what The Witcher did for me. In those RPGs for me were always the more turn-based Final Fantasy and the Chrono Trigger and those types of titles, and then I would come across the RPGs like Elder Scrolls, and I wouldn't like. I just didn't really get on with them, but The Witch is different from the Elder Scrolls, I know, but
you were definitely more used to the JRPG formula than the westernized RPG formula, for sure.
Yeah, but The Witcher did something to me. Yeah, that when you just said there, getting lost in that world for ages, like, I remember because I finished as much as I possibly could of The Witcher 3, just because I love that game so much. And I was playing for, it must have been a few weeks afterwards. I put many hours into that game before I realized that the quests that I'm doing now are just the randomly procedurally generated ones.
Yeah.
They're not like actually counting towards anything. It's just content that's always going to be there no matter how many times I do it. So I'm not getting any closer to an ending by doing those. At which point I then got the DLC, started the DLCs, and I was like, I just need a break from The Witcher. Like, I've just spent like the last few months on this game almost every day hard. But that's the only Western type of RPG I've ever really got on with. And I love,
you know what you were saying before about controversial opinions. Now, do not get me wrong, I'm not going to turn around and say I don't enjoy or I don't like The Witcher 3. Absolutely not. The Witcher 3 was fucking unreal, and I absolutely loved that game. Like, really, I did. But my controversial opinion is it's too fucking long.
The game?
Too fucking long. The Witcher 3, yeah.
I thought he was going to say that I don't like Final Fantasy 7 or something. I was like, don't say
No, absolutely not. No, definitely not. No, I grew up with a mate of mine on my street playing like Final Fantasy 7 and 8. Like, we put some raid time into it. Like, no, that's definitely like a locked into my childhood game.
The Witcher is a long game, but I feel like there was the way that it got round that with me is I was playing to get to the end of a few different things. I wanted to see, literally, I wanted to know what go on with like the whole romancing side, and I also want to know what's going to go on with I can't remember what her name is, that girl.
Oh, it's almost my own fault because there's just too much side stuff, and I have to get that shit done.
You have to do it all, don't you? Like...
So you burn yourself out before you even finish the fucking story, and that's what I mean by it's too long.
I must have timed it perfectly. I must have timed it perfectly because by the time I realized I was going nowhere now and got the DLC, I was like, I need to go away. I've still not played it. I've downloaded it. I might go back to it one day. But I was the kind of guy that, you know, when you're going around, you're collecting the books that tell you about all the different kinds of vampires and that, and the high vampires, the lesser vampires.
Yeah.
I was reading that shit.
Yeah,
I was reading all of that crap. I've never done that in a game before. I'm like, okay, like, tell me what the weakness is.
You're talking to two fucking law whores.
It turned me into a law whore, that game. It did, really. And it's really upsetting because prior to that game, hadn't read the books, didn't even know about the games or anything like that. For all I know, The Witcher 3 was just the name of the first game. You know what I mean? As far as I knew, it was Hype Train, innit? And it did something to me, but I've not been grabbed by anything prior to that or since in the same way.
Fair.
I tried so many times to get into Fallout. Was it 3 or 4 where you start off as a baby?
4?
3.
3?
3 where you start off as a baby.
Yeah,
3 where you start off as a baby. 4's where you start in your house and the dude comes to the fucking door from Vault-Tec.
Yeah.
And you got Mr. Handsworth and shit. It's fucking amazing. But yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, it's been a fucking excellent little go over our fucking origins there. And I think we definitely learned some stuff, even about each other. The good friends that we are, there's certain conversations that you just don't have and you just don't think about having until you put it on the line. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we're more, when we get together, we go hard on the anime and manga a bit, don't we? We don't really go too hard on the gaming bit. So
well, this is it,
we'll be finding each other gaming-wise, as will the listeners.
Absolutely, yeah. But yes, as always, guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning, afternoon, evening, as always, whatever it might be for you. Thank you for joining us. I, of course, have been PT64. You can catch me over at Partisan Turbine 64 over on Twitch Monday to Friday. PT64 Gaming across Twitter, Facebook, you name it, you know the score. And of course,
I am that guy. You'll catch me from time to time on Twitch. It's TGW Dreads. And you'll catch me mostly over on Facebook. Again, TGW Dreads. Or you can even try searching for just that guy with dreads and it pops me up as well. For some reason, don't know why, but props.
And I've been Clockwork Nerd. You'll find me over on Twitch every now and again at Clockwork_nerd. And over on Twitter at ClockworkNerd1.
And together, of course, we have been the SharinGANG. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Take care.
Peace.
Peace.